experiment for this week was that we sent out a 4-question poll asking about payment preference and logistics. And our goal with this was like we want to move away from like the basketball side of things and like people showing interest in basketball and more towards like concrete business like details like how we're gonna get the money and like how much money and stuff like that. So our questions were, are you part of a league right now, like for example the RSF or AAU, and how much do you pay for that? Would you rather pay per game, pay per tournament league, which is like around 4 to 8 weeks, or pay per year? What is a reasonable price for an 8-week, 2-game per week tournament? And what days and times work best for games? And so then that was our experiment, and then our hypothesis was that we figured like around 75% of people would rather pay per league and tournament rather than any like per game or per year type payment. And also that we figured that the average reasonable price that people would think for like an 8-week league would be $50 to $70. And so the key learnings from that experiment was that people would rather pay per league, and that the mean price people were willing to pay was $40.83. So then as far as our first hypothesis, it was validated. We thought like 75% people would prefer per league, and 98% said they would rather pay per league. And then what was not validated was our price range. So we guessed $50 to $70, and the average price was actually $40.83.
So our speakings and learnings from this week, we interviewed a past manager or assistant manager from Coronado YMCA, an AAU representative, and an intramural sports person. And from the YMCA person, we learned that charging per league would actually be better for us. That way people aren't committed and they'll be more willing to sign up more frequently. And he gave us an example of charging, let's say $20 per person, and then each league has like 5 to 12 teams in it, or 5 to 12 persons per team, and it's about like 8 to 16 teams. But then that's not really valid for us because that's assuming we have our own facilities. So we would do something similar, just bump up the prices. And then from the AAU representative, we learned that they charge $1,150 per person for a week that lasts from March to July. It only has about 25 games. And then those are always like packed. So people obviously want to play basketball. And then number 3, the IM sports person, we learned that for a 5-on-5 league, people will pay $180 per team. And then games are once a week. And then they only last about 40 minutes. And then for assignments this week, we did a product markup. And for this assignment, we had like 2 different types of markups. One was a business markup, and the other one was a basketball markup. So for the business markup, we had a Facebook page where we basically invited all the people that we thought were interested. And then we had a survey on the Facebook page that allowed people to sign up for an upcoming tournament. And then we also had a survey, as Polly mentioned, about finance. So while the surveys themselves are not technically mock-ups, we included them in this category because if we include all those together, they could be part of an MVP, and which could be a potential website. And then in terms of the basketball mock-ups, we had an open gym and 2 tournaments, and those could evaluate to an MVP that is a league. And then for our test next week, Aaron's in class this week. Aaron said that asking people how much to pay isn't really isn't legitimate. So we need to make them actually pay. So we're still trying to figure out a test for next week, but we want to do something along that line. Maybe possibly because we're interviewing people from local parks next week, and then asking them to pay and sign up. Maybe that could also be part of our experiment for next week, but we haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, so for next week, our main focus will be to find an efficient way to perform our tests, to find out how much our potential customers are willing to pay. So because of that, our interviews will be based on going to local parks and asking people to sign up and pay for our service, and seeing how many people do sign up and those that don't, why they didn't. So our questions are, what is a legitimate way, as Amber just mentioned, to ask for money and maybe not like pressure our customers too much. And struggles. So yeah, definitely. It's pretty much back to the same thing on how to make sure that we ask in an efficient manner so that we get legit feedback without intimidating the customers.